The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are simply that, opinions. All are presumed innocent until proven otherwise in a court of law. Sensitive topics are discussed. Discretion is advised.
On a cold October afternoon in Lacey, Washington, 17-year-old Fatima Ali's cries pierced the silence outside Timberland High School. Her parents were enraged by her refusal to go home and get ready to leave on a one-way ticket to Iraq and for daring to date an American classmate. They launched a violent scene in broad daylight. Her father allegedly strangled her until she went limp while her mother joined in, dragging her across pavement as students screamed. Witnesses rushed in, pulling them off as Fatima ran to safety. Authorities later called it a chilling, attempted honor killing. Now charged with attempted murder and kidnapping, her parents sit in a courtroom fighting for their freedom, hoping the jury does not believe the testimony of their own daughter. And tonight, all the evidence is in, and the arguments have been made, and it's time for the jury to speak. But first,
is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely there's a reason why I'm pulling you over.
That is video of 22-year-old William McNeil Jr. being pulled from his car in Jacksonville, Florida. Just before this, he refused to exit his locked vehicle without explanation after being pulled over. McNeil questioned the reason for the traffic stop and asked to speak to a supervisor. After several warnings over the course of several minutes, the officer shattered McNeil's driver window and punched him in the face. McNeil's viral phone video captured every detail. The Jacksonville Sheriff's Office responded, releasing body cam video and launching internal and criminal reviews. Tonight, we will break down the videos and speak live with McNeil's attorney, Benjamin Crump. I'm Vinnie Politan. Thank you so much for joining us tonight here on Closing Arguments. And if you noticed, I wasn't here last week, and I was wondering, did I miss anything while I was on vacation? Did anything happen while I was gone? Well, obviously, a lot happened while I was gone last week. A lot of things we didn't expect to happen, but they did happen. And it starts with a couple of killer deals for the worst of the worst, right? Stephen Stearns got a deal. This is a guy, right, living in a state with the death penalty, accused of two crimes, both eligible for the death penalty in Florida, sexually abusing a little girl who trusted him for at least 5 years before murdering her and then lying about it. And he got a deal. We know BK, right? I'm not going to say his name, but we know he got a deal as well. This is a mass murderer who killed because he wanted to kill. He killed because he wanted to be a mass killer. Perhaps he wanted to be a serial killer. He took 4 innocent lives. He terrorized a community. He completely destroyed the innocence of an entire college campus. He made everyone fear for their own safety. And he took 4 innocent people, 4 young lives away. Clearly the worst of the worst. And he got a deal. And I get it, right? Not everyone believes in the death penalty. But guess what? There are states that have it. Idaho and Florida are 2. So if the prosecutors who were prosecuting these 2 cases, who had the final word, in their minds and in their hearts believe that these 2 people deserve a deal, then guess what? Everyone gets a deal. Everyone gets a deal. There's no one who doesn't get a deal now. In Idaho, in Florida, in those jurisdictions with those prosecutors, because they lost all credibility with me. You know, the death penalty isn't on the books to make life easier for prosecutors. It's there to punish the worst of the worst and to deter specifically the worst of the worst and generally the rest of the population from engaging in that type of conduct and behavior. And obviously, none of these killers want to be on death row. That's why they take the deals when they're offered. And the evidence was overwhelming in both cases, by the way. Anyway. Meanwhile, if that's not enough, 5 lives now She'll be serving 5 life terms for taking 5 lives. That's Lori Vallow Daybell, or attempting to take one and taking others. Hopefully this is the end of her, right? Can we say bye-bye, ding-dong Daybell? Can we say that? I hope we can. Wow. I mean, all that she's put her family through, the lives that she's taken, the families that she has destroyed, the body count, almost insurmountable. It's unreal. She's a serial killer. She's a serial. It's a different kind of serial killer, but she is. And she escaped death row, but it wasn't because prosecutors didn't want to seek it. It's because prosecutors were incompetent and made mistakes and lost the ability to seek the death penalty in that case. Anyhow, let's get on to tonight's big story that we're starting with tonight. And this is a smash and grab. And it was a video that went viral. A man is in his car. He has his phone set up. Police are outside. They want him to get out. And ultimately, they smash his window. They punch him. They grab him. They drag him out of the vehicle, and then they arrest him. That happened back in February, but the video has now gone viral. The video he sent out, police have responded to all this, or law enforcement has responded. We're going to walk you through the video. We're going to try to figure out how and why this happened and what should happen as a result of all of this. But let's begin by showing you that video that went viral.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle. Show me your hands.
Here.
33 at 15 an hour.
I'm here. What is your reason, sir?
Step out.
What is your reason?
Step out now. All right.
Get on the ground. No. Get on the ground.
Stop fighting.
Put your hands behind your back.
Put your hands behind your back.
I'm resisting.
Hands behind your back.
So what just happened here? What just happened here? Well, let's get one side of the story. I am joined by nationally renowned civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing William McNeil Jr., the man you saw grabbed and punched and tossed out of his car. Ben, great to see you. I know this has happened a few months ago. Physically and emotionally, how is your client doing?
Obviously, if this happened to you, you'll have a very traumatic experience that leads to post-traumatic stress disorder. His tooth was broken. He had about 12 stitches in his lip. What you don't see there, Vinnie, is even when they had him on the ground and had him in handcuffs, they banged his head against the concrete. And why do you ask this all happened? They didn't show the first part of the video, Vinnie, which is him talking to the officer saying, "Why did you stop me?" And the officer says, "Because you didn't have your headlights on." And he said, "But it's broad daylight." He said, "Well, the law is you have to have your headlights on if it's raining or foggy or inclement weather." He says, "But it's not raining." And he knows at that point that he's been stopped for driving while black, which happens very often in America. And he simply asks, I want to speak to your supervisor. And why did he do that, Vinnie? I mean, everything is recorded for you to see and for you to hear. And the reason the video went viral is because everybody finally gets to see a driving while black case and hear the full context of it. And then, thank God, William McNeil lived to tell about it. Oftentimes, many African Americans don't live to tell about it.
Let me ask you this, Ben. So at the moment where he's asking to speak to the supervisor, and we had to speak to you ahead of time because I know you have another appointment tonight. So we're going to show the rest of the video to everyone. Don't worry.
Thank you.
He's asking about the why he's being pulled over. I want to speak to a supervisor. Then he locks the door. He is asked to open the door over the course of 3 minutes or so before the window is smashed. Why doesn't he cooperate and provide his license and his registration as part of the traffic stop as officers are threatening to break his window?
You know, Vinnie, he knew that they were lying to him. He asked for the supervisor. They said they're not going to bring the supervisor. Doesn't he, as a citizen, have a right to say, I don't want to allow you to violate my Fourth Amendment rights against unlawful searches and seizures? You know, people say, oh, just comply, just comply. How many of my rights do I have to give up just so you would treat me like an American citizen, just so you would give me humanity? What many black people believe when they see this video that has now been seen by over 50 million people is that he was having what is essentially a 21st century Rosa Parks moment, where you get tired of having your civil rights and your constitutional rights violated on a daily basis. So on this one day, just like Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat, he said, I want to see your supervisor because I know what you're telling me is a lie and you're violating my Fourth Amendment rights. And why did he do that? Boy, you look at how the police responded, Vinnie, with such brutality and force. And that's what people are outraged because you're saying, hold on, you drew a gun on a young man and his alleged crime was not having his headlights on in broad daylight. We think it's racial profiling 101, simply put, driving while black. There is no way to justify this. There is no way to condone this. The sheriff should condemn this immediately and say, this does not represent our values, it doesn't represent our training, nor does it represent our policies, and they should terminate that police officer immediately.
So at the moment he's locking himself inside, what are his expectations at that time? Is he trying to force his hand and say, listen, I want the supervisor here, and he's going to wait for the supervisor to show up and then open the door? What was the next step that he was expecting to happen in that moment?
A supervisor to show up and explain why the police were lying to him about he must have his headlights on. And furthermore, he had a premonition that these officers were going to brutalize me. And we see his premonition was right, Vinnie. And thank God, Vinnie Politan, that he had the recorder recording. Because could you imagine what the police report would have been? Just like with George Floyd, how that police report was contradicted completely by the video. And oh, by the way, they did do a police report, Vinnie, and it was completely contradicted by this video. All people, especially young people, should keep recording videos of police interaction because oftentimes we see that they are less than truthful at best. At worst, they lie on police reports.
Okay, I know you have about 2 minutes left with us, Ben. So what do you believe should happen here? What should be the result of the relief that you're looking for, representing the rights of your client, William McNeil Jr.?
This officer should be terminated because if you keep him on the police force, it sends the clear message that police are allowed to violate the constitutional rights and brutalize certain people in America with no consequences. Furthermore, we want to make sure that every legal remedy available to William McNeil is afforded to him, and we plan on pursuing that. But Vinnie, I want to say this to your audience. Many black parents, we have to give our children the talk. William McNeil, parents gave him the talk. You see that he never escalated his voice. He never moved suddenly. I mean, he was calm. It was law enforcement that kept escalating things. And then to draw a weapon at gunpoint because I didn't have my headlights on, we must say to America, we're better than this. we can't always say it's the victim's responsibility to just comply with the police, even though the police are doing inappropriate and, I would add, illegal conduct that we see in this video. At what point do our children and our young people get to say, we expect to be treated as American citizens just like you want your child to be treated as an American citizen? Many white brothers and sisters can't fathom this happening to their child, that the police will stop them for driving without their headlights on in broad daylight.
Ben Crump, I know you have to go. We appreciate your time tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, let's bring in Court TV field reporter Cody Thomas, join us live tonight in studio. So, police, what are police saying about this stop? Because you look at the video and people are like, what's going on here?
It's tough to watch, right? And you know, police are pushing back against these claims of excessive force, Vinny. In fact, the sheriff down there in Jacksonville, TK Waters, Ben Crump mentioned it there for a second, that we don't have the full context of what was going on. He says there's more body cam. He gave a press conference pretty much confirming that, you know, this video was released to ignite public outrage. Take a listen to what he had to say.
The cell phone camera footage that began viral circulation over the weekend does not comprehensively capture the circumstances surrounding this incident, and that is to be expected. Part of that stems from the distance and perspective of the recording cell phone camera. Another part of it stems from the fact that the cell phone camera did not capture the events that preceded Officer Bowers' decision to arrest McNeil.
And Vinny, he also goes on in that press conference to say, quote, just because force is ugly doesn't mean it's unlawful or contrary to policy. And Vinny, you know, we see headlines like this more often than some people would like, and there's almost always an immediate assumed racial component that bleeds itself into the story involving the young people or old people or whoever may be involved in the stories like this. And you know, this story has an extra kick to it because the sheriff himself is also a black man. So that's, you know, discourse online revolving around that. Now, of course, the Sheriff TK Waters is saying people don't have the context. So naturally, the public wants to see the rest of the video to see if they can contextualize it themselves. So let's take a look at what they released eventually.
The body cam.
The body cam.
Is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely there's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
This is inclement.
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor.
I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle. Right now you're under arrest for resisting. Open the vehicle and exit before we're going to break the window. Open the door and exit or we are going to break the window.
All right, go for it.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle.
No.
Put your hands behind your back. Hands behind your back.
So, Vinny, that's what Sheriff TK Waters wanted to put into context for the public. Now, we heard the officer in that video, and we also heard Mr. Crump mention that they pulled him over for no headlights during inclement weather. Now, this was February 19th of this year at around 4:20 in the afternoon. So what I did, I went online and researched what the weather was during that specific time period on that day.
Just from the video, doesn't, I mean, it looks gray.
You don't see any rain.
It, right?
Yeah, you know, it looks like it had rain, but actively in that moment, it doesn't look like, you know, a torrential downpour. But according to weatherunderground.com, between 3:56 and 4:56 p.m., that's the way they had it split up. You can see on the graph here, I circled things in green there. On February 19, 2025, there was only 0.04 inches of rain that fell in that hour-long period. And actually, by 4:56, going on 5 o'clock, there was no rainfall at all. So inclement weather could be argued, you know, back and forth between police and public.
Right. Was it drizzling? Was it not drizzling?
Was it lightning? Was it, you know? So.
Okay. How about William McNeil Jr.? What has he said here?
So he said, of course, as Mr. Crump mentioned, he's, you know, struggling. He has trauma from the event and everything. He says he released the video because this happened in February, so now we're 5, almost 6 months removed from when it happened. He says he got tired of dealing with it alone. He's a 22-year-old kid. He's still in college at an HBCU down in Florida. He says that's why he put it out a little bit later. He said he wanted the world to see his experience. Now, of course, within the department, administrative reviews are going on, internal investigations are going on. McNeil wants an independent investigation. But aside from that, Vinny, he says just during the entire altercation, he was simply scared. Take a listen to what he had to say.
First of all, I want to thank God for bringing everybody here together, and thank y'all for supporting me. That day, I just really wanted to know, why I was getting pulled over and why I needed to step out the car when I know I didn't do nothing wrong. I was really just scared. And that's it.
Vinny, important to note, I mentioned that internal investigation going on. Officer Donald Bowers, that's the body cam, the guy who was wearing the body cam that we've been viewing. He has been stripped of his duties as this ongoing internal investigation goes on, but the state attorney's office says no officers involved violated any criminal laws. And also important to note, William McNeil Jr. did plead guilty to resisting an officer without violence, so he did accept responsibility for that, assuming that's when, he closed the door, locked himself in the car, waiting on the supervisor and all that.
Right, not providing his documentation from the pull-off. And it's interesting because, and we're going to discuss this with our think tank coming up in just a second, but the issues are here, why was he stopped in the first place? But then he is stopped, how does he react to being stopped? And what are the obligations of police to bring a supervisor when you have a situation like that? And then from the police officer's perspective, every time they pull someone over, they're always concerned about their safety. So they don't know this individual, but he's concerned about his safety at the same time.
It's a combative thing every time.
Absolutely. All right, Cody, thanks so much. All right, when we come back, folks, what we're going to do is we're going to bring in our think tank, talk about this case. They're all locked and loaded. Al Wunsch, the third, Darnell Crossland, and, of course, Jennifer Brandt, plus coming up next hour. Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, two brothers with a potential $14 million inheritance sentenced to life behind bars. Now, Eric and Lyle Menendez return to the spotlight as parole hearings ignite a battle for redemption with the possibility of freedom hanging in the balance. Will they be set free? Tonight, we investigate.
The Court TV podcast will return.
Yes, sir.
Is there a reason why you're popping the door open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely there's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement?
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor. Why did you pull me over?
77, 35. I'm proper driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
Exit the vehicle now. Exit the vehicle.
Wow. Powerful video, but what exactly is going on here? What are the rights of the driver? What are the rights of law enforcement? What's going on here exactly? Let's break it all down with our think tank. Joining us, criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, represents a lot of police officers, Al Wunsch III. Criminal defense attorney Darnell Crossland, and family law attorney Jennifer Brandt. Great to see everyone. Okay.
Welcome back, Vin.
What?
Welcome back.
Oh, great to be back. So let's start. Let's do it kind of in order as it happened here, okay? The traffic stop. The allegations by the officer, I'm stopping you because of inclement weather, your headlights aren't on, okay? And for not wearing a seatbelt. Al, is this really why he's being pulled over, or is it the color of his skin?
It's completely legitimate. Well, how would you know the color of his skin? He's got tinted windows there, Vin. Windows are tinted. You see that? Dark windows. So you don't know what's going on in that car. But nonetheless, it is requirement.
Well, if he's got tinted windows, how does he know he's not wearing a seatbelt?
It's required that he needs, well, because you can see the way he gets out. But the situation is he's required to have his lights on in inclement weather. And that is a moving violation in Florida. It's not in New Jersey, but it is in Florida, and it has motor vehicle points.
Okay. All right. Darnell, do you agree?
Totally disagree. One, the word inclement is up for debate. We heard that around that time there was no rain. And prior to that, it was, 0.3, maybe some raindrops. That's the first thing. Second thing is, when a car is coming towards you, even if it has tints on the side, you can see the driver's skin color from the inside. We unfortunately had a case, Mubarak Solomon, here in Connecticut. He was having a mental crisis, and the police surrounded the car, and he had a knife in his hand, and the windows were closed, the car was locked, and they started shooting through the window, shot and killed the guy. Brian North was a trooper. And that's what we find. We find that that when there's a racial difference, then the driver's white or the other person's white, there's a lot of diplomacy. Here, even when the windows were broken and it was open and the kid was sitting there.
Wait, we'll get to the smashed window. I want to take it one issue at a time. I want to roll through this. Jennifer Brandt, what do you think about the traffic stop itself?
Well, I think the stop was questionable. I mean, it wasn't raining out, and why they pulled him over, you know, it's a question, were they pulling over a lot of cars at that time? Were, you know, other people getting stopped, or did they single him out? So I think those are questions we'd want to know about the stop itself.
Okay, let's talk about the reaction now. So he opens his door because his window doesn't work. He wants to know why. He says it. He wants to speak to a supervisor, so he closes the door and locks himself inside. I'll begin with you this time, Darnell. Is he allowed to do that?
I don't think there's any law that says he can't do that, but I'm going to say this quite clearly. There may be a racial issue and different treatment in this country, 100%. And as what some will term a black Republican, I know there's a difference. So I wouldn't suggest that you slam your door around a bunch of cops. It makes no difference in this case that the sheriff is a black man. There's systemic implicit biases that cause these officers to react differently, and that's 100%. And so if I want to keep myself safe and keep my teeth, I'm not doing that. But I do know there's instances where if that kid was a white kid, that the cops will say, okay, we smashed the window. Now they see he's sitting there, stoic.
See, you got to the smashed window already, Darnell. I'm trying to do it one piece at a time here. Jennifer Brandt, what are your thoughts about his reaction, locking himself in? Is he allowed to do that and wait for a supervisor?
Look, Vinny, no one should do that. No one would teach their kid to do that. I mean, if they're stopped by a police officer, anybody, black, white, anybody, you know, you don't start questioning them. You don't start talking back. You don't start slamming your door, because then you're just inciting, you know, and creating a bigger incident than it may have been. He didn't want to hand over his documents, but he should have. And yeah, then he maybe had a right to say, I know, I'd like to speak to someone if they're pursuing other, you know, charges against him. But to act like that right off the bat, I think it just heightened the situation, and you could see what happened after that.
All right,
we're
real short on time here, Al. You got to give me the short answer. Smashing the window, punching him in the face, was that justified?
Under the circumstances, smashing the window was justified. I don't think punching him was justified, but certainly smashing the window. He was given an opportunity. And like I've said, my Uncle Nunzio said from the beginning, you can beat the charge, but you can't fight the stop. Okay?
Gotcha.
And that's
Fight
what
it
he
in
tried
court.
to do.
Don't try to litigate it on the side of the road. Okay.
Amen.
All right. We're out of time on that for tonight, but we're going to continue following the story, obviously. All right. Stay where you are. Think Tank staying with us when we come back. Here we go. Fatima Ali. Was this an attempted honor killing by her parents? Guess what? The case is now in the hands of the jury.
He grabs her by the hoodie and he places her in a rear naked choke, and we've heard that described with specificity. He takes her to the ground. He holds her in that choke for an extended period of time. He ignores those repeated screams and demands of no less than 6 kids. But Zara is there, and Zara's not like somewhere else. Zara is right there. She is bent down with those individuals. These are separate acts and behaviors from those of the kids watching, because what are the kids doing? The kids are still screaming, get off of her, let go of her, you're killing her. And what does Mary Wagner say? Mary Wagner says, Zara is not helping the young woman on the ground. She seems to only be trying to stop the teens from hitting the man who is strangling Fatima. She did nothing to assist Fatima from what Mary Wagner saw.
Video is a crucial piece of evidence in the attempted honor killing trial that we're covering here on Court TV. Today, closing arguments. The jury has the case now. They'll continue their deliberations tomorrow. But let's take a listen. That was the prosecution. Let's take a listen to the attorneys for the father and then for the mother.
This is my opportunity to tell you that I see this case, obviously, different from what the prosecutor saw. And what I'm going to tell you is this case boils down to 53 seconds for Mr. Oliver. 53 seconds from when we start the bus video until Mr. Ali is laying prostrate on the ground unconscious. Okay? That's the amount of time we're talking about. That's the 53 seconds that we're talking about. That's the amount of time for all of this to happen where Mr. Ali allegedly formed the intent to kill his daughter. That's what they're thinking that he was doing. A man who called the police when his daughter was missing. Not just once, but at least twice. A man who spent the day looking for his daughter. He finds her. He wants to take her home. He has no idea what's going on, except that she ran away that morning. No one has had the courtesy to call him and tell him what's happening. So what does he do? He goes, he tries to take her home. He gets attacked by a mob. He's beat about the head and neck area. And allegedly, he has, at that point, informed intent to either A, kill his daughter, which obviously didn't want to do, or B, seriously maim her. Assault 1, no. The question is, did he strangle her with an intent? Did he intend it? Was it intended at all when he's there? Or is it just circumstantial, right? Just because I'm on the ground, I've been tackled, I've been dragged, I've been kicked, I've been punched, I'm hanging on to my daughter. I don't know who these people are trying to take her, but I sure don't want to let her go. Something a father would do. Something a father would want to do, hang on to his child. Now, is it unfortunate that her neck was compressed? Yes, it was. But that is not a crime if you don't intend it. Parental rights, right? You have the right, when your daughter is gone, run away, to take her home. That is your parental right, okay? Grabbing her by the shoulder, taking her home is not against the law, okay? What happened here, though? Isaiah got himself involved in this. He put himself in the situation and made it physical. He grabbed Mr. Ali, he stuck his hand up in his face, he pulled on Fatima, and he was wrestling with Mr. Ali. Again, Mr. Ali doesn't even know him. Doesn't know who this guy is, doesn't know what his intent is with his daughter, right? Mr. Ali does what? He punches him one time to get him away.
The state would have you believe that in those mere seconds that she formed the intent to say, well, I'm going to help my husband kill my daughter, by kind of standing around trying to push Isaiah off, who had just been punching her husband in the head. Or that she, while she's holding her daughter, crying, my daughter, in a voice that Fatima described as sad, and told the police that she was trying to protect her from the chaos. In the state's eyes, that's attempted murder. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why we have juries. It's not her decision. It's not the court's decision. It's not my decision. It's your decision. It's your responsibility to hold the state to its burden, that we start from a presumption of innocence. Constitutionally, we walk in this door and we say that my client has not done anything. What did she do? She ran across a parking lot, through a crowd of kids, said that she could see her husband being punched, not 30 times, not 40 times, towards the end, stood there, as we saw in the video when it zoomed in, kind of with Mr. Wagner. Wagner goes in, frees his daughter. If that's attempted murder, we're all in trouble. If a mother going to the aid of her daughter, checking on her husband, who a mob has surrounded and kicked repeatedly and beat, and there's no evidence that she could actually see her face from where she was standing, that in those seconds it's attempted murder, I submit that it's not. We talk about unconscious bias. My client is different. You can't allow yourself to look at her any differently and reach a decision because she's different. The decision has to be the same, whether or not her child grew up from kindergarten to junior year, played sports, was in the school. The mom was the head of the PTA. She was the head of the PTA. She did exactly like my client did. I don't think she would have been here.
Fascinating closing arguments from the defense. Jennifer Brandt, what's the truth? What's going on here?
Well, I think the defense counsel was very good. For the father, I mean, you believe him, but the only problem is he doesn't really discuss why the father grabbed his daughter around the neck, and witnesses have said that her eyes rolled back. It looks like she was being strangled to such an extent. So, he was all good up until that point, but he really doesn't explain all of that, and I think that's where the problem lies. In terms of the mother, I mean, yeah, she was standing there, but she also went there to get the daughter, and she didn't calmly, tell the police to help intervene or do anything. She let her husband go ahead and grab the daughter and do this, didn't intervene in any way to help her daughter. So, while the defense did the best that they could, the facts here and the video show a pretty violent situation and show that this child was being, grabbed by her own parents or father at least. And, it seemed like he tried to actually strangle her. So I think the facts are definitely evident here and problematic for the defendants.
Al, attempted murder is it goes without saying, an extremely serious offense here. What are your thoughts about the truth?
Well, first of all, I think that defense counsel did almost a job like a WWE announcer when he was announcing how that fight was going on. And this one came in and pulled him over this way, and then this one him over that way, and then you're down on this way, and you see him down on that. And he went over the fight, and I found that to be very, very interesting. But what was even more interesting to me was the look of the father, his client, sitting there, could not have been more bored. I mean, just like the audience is when Darnell talks. He had that same look on his face. You would think that you would say to your client, do something, just look attentive, look innocent, don't look bored, And that's exactly what was going on there. And I think it's going to be a very, very tough case for a defense to win on this one.
Darnell, let me ask you about mom and dad. Neither one of them took the stand. You're accused of attempting to murder your own child, and you don't explain anything. I understand you have the right to remain silent, but if someone accused me of trying to murder my child, maybe you try to put some perspective on it and you humanize yourself, because I think Al's right in the way they look. Not about you, but the way they look, they don't look, there's not a sense of warmth coming from mom and dad inside the courtroom. There's no humanization. This is about trying to murder your own child. Tell us that this hurts. Show us that this hurts. Tell us it's not the truth.
Well, a couple of things. One is that Al lacks cultural sensitivity, and that's why he doesn't realize, like the defense attorney said, these people are different. the defense attorney didn't describe, maybe because they're foreigners or they're not white, but he wanted you to believe that you should treat them, the jury should look at them like they're, apple pie bringing head of the PTA kind of, white suburban mothers and families. Well, they're not. And so they sit there. One, the mother has headphones on because she probably doesn't speak English. The father doesn't have headphones on because he probably understands 1 in every 10 words. So this is not their proverbial home, if you would. So therefore, they're looking like they can't smile or laugh or feel comfortable. And so you have to be culturally aware of that. Now, in terms of the defense from the mom's lawyer, I get it. They have to find beyond a reasonable doubt that these people intended to kill this woman, and they weren't successful, thus the attempt. That's a very, very hard
It's a tough one. It's going to be tough. I think it's tougher for the mom than the dad, unless they wrap them together. We're out of time. That's the only reason I talk over you, Darnell, is when we're out of time.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Darnell Crossland, Jennifer Brandt, Al Wunsch. Great to have you. Great to see you. Don't go anywhere, folks. When we come back, I'll reveal something else you need to know tonight.
Now, back to the Court TV podcast.
Welcome back. Time to reveal something else you need to know tonight. Let's take a look at the big board. Speaking out. Excuse me. Olivia Gonzalez, the sister of Kelly Gonzalez, everyone will remember, they will never forget her victim impact statement. She is speaking out now. Let's take one more listen to a part of that statement.
Don't ever try to convince yourself you mattered just because someone finally said your name out loud. I see through you. You want the truth? Here's the one you'll hate the most. If you hadn't attacked them in their sleep, in the middle of the night, like a pedophile, Kaylee would have kicked your ass. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Olivia went on ABC's Good Morning America today and told Kanya Whitworth she was prepared to be arrested before giving her victim impact statement. Take a listen.
I was prepared to be arrested that day. Really? Really. No, I'm not joking. I think that every single one of us were. Man, was he mad. That was obviously a big point of why I did what I did, to make him feel small, because he is.
I'm glad that the judge allowed the victims to speak the way they did. Some judges don't allow it, so I think it was appropriate in light of everything and the way it transpired for these victims' families to have that moment, and it was nice to see her smile there. All right, folks, before we go for this hour, take a look at your screen because we have a missing child who needs your help. This is Nadia White. Nadia is just 16 years old, missing out of Simpsonville, South Carolina since July 25th. This is what you need to do. Take a look at the picture. If you see Nadia, pick up the phone, make a call, make a difference. 911, 1-800-THE-LOST, or you can call the Greenville County Sheriff's Office in South Carolina. Let's get Nadia to a safe place tonight. Don't go anywhere. We have another hour of live true crime. Vinnie Politan Investigates is next. In the meantime, please don't forget to hug the kids.
There you have it. If you want to see more in-depth reporting on the latest true crime stories, you can see me every weeknight, 8 p.m. Eastern on Closing Arguments. Thank you so much for downloading. And as always, please don't forget to hug the kids.
This podcast is a production of Court TV. Go to CourtTV.com for more content, trials on demand, and to find out how to watch Court TV in your area.